Right. So, as a part of solution architecture, whenever we try to understand about the solution architecture part, it's always important for us to understand about authentication and authorization process as well, because in the previous sessions when I discussed about solution architecture, I also mentioned about authentication and authorization process. Normally, authentication authorization using both 2.0 and all everything is what something technically we being into application development, we use it. Whenever we try to understand this from the solution point of view, because whenever we being a solution architect from Java point of view, whenever we try to understand about this, so we must be knowing about some mobile applications also. It's not only about the web applications we are developing, but it's also important for us to understand about the mobile application development. Because when we are working on mobile application development, especially when we use any ERP application, something like SAP, all that, there is a we need to create an assertion which is called SAML, right? So this is what generally one must be knowing. So this is majorly to initiate whatever the REST API services we want to create. So this SAML assertions and all everything will be useful for authentication the application. At the same time, whenever we want to perform any security configuration and all everything, this is what something which normally we use it. Normally, when if you can see here, if there is a process which I have explained on a stepwise procedure here, as far as this itself is concerned, when there is any kind of application, initially we connects to the server whenever you want to create a session which is established. Normally, the application is set up to be the secured SML authentications and all, wherein whatever the kind of server responses within the header, whenever we are working on some ERP application, something like SAP and all that. Generally, SAML, now and then we use 2.0 configuration, authentications for security configurations and all, which need to be taken place in the applications as well. Now, when it comes to the mobile services, as I stated here, as I mentioned here, because whatever the mobile application cookies or else mobile app routers are we maintaining, whenever we try to understand about authenticating the applications and all. Normally, we need to provide an authentication flow, which majorly uses headers as well as cookies and all, which must be compatible with SAML form authentication flows and all, wherein we need to issue and request from HTTP point of view to the server. Generally, if the server is responding, whatever the header indicates, the authentications required and all everything will be done in this regard. So when being a solution architect, whenever we try to provide solution for any application development, especially for mobile applications, or else it can be on any kind of ERP applications and all, it's always important for us to understand the technical perspective as well as the kind of logic which is to be implemented in this regard is what something being a solution architect we must be, because as in when we already discussed multiple times in the previous classes, because whenever we try to understand about the solution architect from the Java perspective, this is all completely logical oriented, right? So this is not something to do with functional part. But as in when I see like people were already from the technical side, so that I'm focusing more on the functional perspective of solution providing. So in connect to that, whenever we wants to create any kind of applications or any kind of mobile app cookies and all everything we want to create, right? So either it can be named like whatever the kind of value are going to create, or at the same time the kind of cookies or the session codes we are going to create. At the same time, whatever the HTTP request responses we have created, followed by this, if there is any kind of request headers, are we going to maintain? All these things, when it comes to the mobile application development, is what something a solution architect one should understand. So this sort of understanding is essentially required, and this is what something which this session is all about. Of course, the session is very short today, but I want to give you a heads up and high level understanding over the authenticating of applications, especially on the mobile-based applications. Being a solution architect, one must be knowing it. This is all about the session. If you have any questions, please go ahead.